Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to do my crowdfunding update for May 2022. I know we're a little over a week into June already, but I had to do some traveling to help out some family members, and so just now getting around to it. And it's probably going to be a while before I do the next one because we're moving out of our house this week and then traveling for 6 weeks before we move into our new place in August. So I'm not sure when I'll be back online after this one, but I'll try to get you caught up when I get back. So for now, let me tell you about the games on GameFound and Kickstarter that I've been interested in, the ones I backed, the ones that I followed and didn't back, the ones that I'm still following, and some that I'm anticipating that are coming up over the summer. So if you're curious to see what crowdfunding games I'm interested in, stay tuned. All right, first a quick shout out to some of the channels that help me stay in touch with what is coming on these crowdfunding platforms. BoardGameCo, Alex does tons of updates. He primarily does every Monday a should you back of the things that are active, but at the end of each month he talks about games that are coming up on the next month. So his videos are quite informative and helpful for me to see what's coming. And then Adam from ShelfClutter, he gives a weekly update on what's coming that week. So while Alex does what's already live and whether you should back it, Adam does this is what's coming up over the next week. And he has tons of giveaways on his channel. He also has a tremendous Discord, and that's actually where I find out a lot about the different games that are coming, whether he mentions them or not, some that are coming down the road even further than the week ahead that he talks about. And then the third one that I spend quite a bit of time watching is Tantrum House. They do once or twice a month updates on what's coming to crowdfunding platforms. And so their videos also help me to stay in tune with what's on the horizon, what's coming live, what's already live. And so those three channels are my primary go-tos. There's a few others that I follow as well, but those are the three that kind of mostly keep me in the loop. So in May, what did I back? Well, the first one I backed is Ra by 25th Century Games. It's a classic game by Reiner Knizia, an auction game, and I've never played it. And I wasn't sure I was going to back it because I haven't played it. I kept hoping, well, I'll hopefully get with my friends and back it, but just between the end of the school year and some family things that came up, I just didn't have a chance to do that. And so, but I think this is a pretty safe back just because Ra is such a well-loved game. Chances are I am going to enjoy it. Most of my friends that have played it really do enjoy it. And if for some reason it just doesn't strike me, I could always trade it. I'm sure there's going to be a good secondhand market out there for it. Trade it or sell it or something. So I decided to go ahead and back it even though I've never played the original. It does have beautiful components, and like I said, I think it's a safe back that I would be able to trade away if for some reason it just doesn't sync with me or my family very much. But I do tend to like Reiner Knizia games. Haven't played very many auction games though, so that's the one thing that's kind of making me a little unsure. But like I said, just because I think this is going to be a very safe back, I went ahead and went for it so that I could make sure I could get this deluxe version of the classic game Ra by Reiner Knizia. All right, so this one ended earlier in May, I believe, and I'm sure this one will be coming to retail in some form. Let's see over here. Well, I'm not going to dig through it now, but I do know that the standard edition will probably be coming to retail. Yeah, retail edition of the game. So if you're curious in it and didn't get a chance to back the deluxe edition, then you'll hopefully have a chance to get the retail version later. Another one that I backed is Trailblazer, the John Muir Trail. This is one by Mariposa Games that I was really drawn into because the John Muir Trail is just up the state for me. I live in California. It's just up the highway for me a little ways. And I've actually been in Yosemite and areas around the John Muir Trail. I've always thought it would be great to try to hike it someday. And as I watched a lot of people's videos on this, Board Game Master, Better Half Reviews, lots of different people, as I watched the videos, I watched the gameplay for, it used to be Ant Lab Games, and they've changed their name, and I can't think of right now what their current name is. I watched a bunch of videos, and as I watched them, I thought, this gameplay sounds like something my family would enjoy. It's a little bit like Parks, but not exactly. It's very beautiful, and so just the nature theme always draws me in. I like resource management, and I think that this kind of game would really jive with us well based on the videos that I watched. So did back this one as well. It is very beautiful, and I think the gameplay from what I've seen is going to really fit my family nicely. So also, just hoping at some point maybe I can take this actually to the John Muir Trail, do some camping, play the game. So yeah, very excited about that. And then John DeClaire made the solo mode, which is another, added bonus. So that's the second game that I backed in May. Third one, Castles of Burgundy Special Edition. This one's still live, 5 days left. And I recently played Castles of Burgundy with my game group. Absolutely loved it. Got it on Steam. Been playing it a lot on Steam. Very much enjoy this game. So since I don't own it, I was very happy to be able to buy the deluxe version here, the special edition. Double layered boards, quadruple layer boards for one of the expansions, all kinds of miniatures. And you have an opportunity though, like this Vineyards one has these quadruple layer boards. It's a new expansion, which I'm excited about. But you have an opportunity in the different pledges to purchase it with or without the miniatures. And so you can decide whether the miniatures are something you're interested in or not. But these were sort of stretch goal, unveils, I guess. This Vineyards expansion was a quite large, extensive expansion for the game that hadn't been previously released. And then after that, they started showing some of the other fancy features, the different sculpts, the bags that stand on their own to hold the tiles. So lots of really cool features to this one. And because it's been so well loved, tons of people are backing it and lots of money coming in, so they're able to bring forth a lot of great stretch goals. Probably many that they had planned, but I'm sure they knew this was going to do well. And in the past, all the versions of Castles of Burgundy, people have complained that they just weren't attractive. Now that Awakened Realms have jumped in with Ravensburger, you can tell this is going to be very attractive. And so I'm excited to receive this one. And you can see the different pledges there. Also some different unlocked things as they're showing here in a summary. And I think there are also some add-ons. Yeah, the acrylic tiles and the playmat. If you don't get the big version of it that include those already, you can add those onto the other version. So here's the gameplay with everything. You can see all the different features. You've seen most of them above anyway. This is the special edition version. Showing you everything that comes in that gameplay version. Lots and lots of stuff. Lots of expansions. And then the special edition features showing you what is coming in the special edition, and then some how to play videos. Yeah, I really enjoyed my plays of it, so I'm very much excited for this one. I did back it. All right, some that I did not back that I was very much interested in. Phraya by DMZ Games. This is a worker movement game with a pickup and delivery mechanism. I love the art, and those two mechanisms really tend to interest me. I like worker placement, so I was really curious to see how this worker movement would be. And commodity speculation has been one that's been hit or miss for me in different games, but it drew me in. The art on this one is what attracted me initially. And then as I started reading about the gameplay, it sounded pretty interesting. And as I started looking at the pictures and following these videos here on how this works, it was intriguing. I ended up not backing it. There just wasn't, it's a pretty cheap game, but there just wasn't much information on other people who've played it. There's a little bit down here, but not a real extensive amount like you typically see. And so with limited information, I decided, and already having backed 3 other games, I decided not to go for this one. But almost got me. And I would love to play it someday. I think it looks very attractive, and it's art by Michael Menzel. And that worker movement, I'm really intrigued. I'd like to try it. Sleeping Gods Distant Skies. I love Sleeping Gods, but I have so much of that still to play. I haven't even cracked into the 2 expansions I already have. Even though I know this is a standalone new game, I decided not to back this one for the time being. I'm sure this one will be available in a variety of ways, either through trade or through purchase on the Red Raven website or through Game Steward or something like that. So if I do get through a lot more of the Sleeping Gods gameplay before this one actually comes to market, then I might change my mind and try to pick it up some other way. I do really enjoy Sleeping Gods, and I know they've cleaned up a few things here and combat and other things, so I was tempted, but just decided not to go for it at this time. And I have almost every Red Raven game that exists, so this was really hard for me to say no to, but at this time I just feel like I need to get through what I have of Sleeping Gods before I add more to it. So that was my decision there. I'm sure at some point I'll either have a friend who has it and play with them, or back it myself, not back it, but pick it up myself in the future. Another one, Wayfarers of the South Tigris. I have a friend who did decide to get this one, and so I'm going to wait and play his copy before I decide if I want to buy it myself. And with Garfield games, most of the time you can get it cheaper after. You might miss out on a few of the special blinged out options, but that's not too important for me for the Garfield games, because for Garfield games, I like all of them, but I only love a couple of them. And so, yeah, I tend to like to try them first This one looks intriguing. Several of my friends, all aboard gamer, others have talked about how much they love this game, and I've watched several videos. Very interested. Definitely want to play it. Probably play my friend's copy and then decide if I want to pick it up on retail. All right, Oranienburger Kanal. This is a Uwe Rosenberg game by Spielworks, and this one was just on GameFound for a short period of time, and I've been hit or miss with Uwe games as well. Some games I've really loved, some games I've enjoyed, some games have just been okay for me. And this one just looked a little dry, so I definitely looked it over. I think I might have mentioned this last month as well as one that I was anticipating, but it just didn't really sing to me. The videos I watched were just, didn't really pull me in, so I decided not to go over this one. I'm sure it'll be widely available. I can maybe play it at a game store or something in a game cafe and give it more of a shot and see if it's something I would want to purchase. I imagine it'll be available in retail, being a Uwe game. All right, Kingdom Builder Empire Edition. Now, I have never played Kingdom Builder, but I've always wanted to. This is a Donalex Vaccarino, or however you say his name. He's the guy who did all the Dominion, and I love Dominion, but I've never played Kingdom Builder. It seems like people either love it or hate it a lot, and so haven't had a chance to play a copy of it yet. And before I play it, or before I was going to back something like this, I thought I really want to play it first, because this is a nice, huge, big box with all these different expansions. Would be cool to have, but not knowing if I would really enjoy it or not, I decided to pass on it for now. And so, but yeah, it'll be one that if I could play the game, and then if I find it, I really do enjoy this, I might try to pick this up from Game Steward in the future. But having never played the original, I just didn't want to jump in now. The Empire Edition, $250. Yeah, not knowing whether I would like it. I mean, I think it's probably a good value if you really love it, because it has all these expansions and upgraded components and stuff. And if you just want to get the upgrade kit, for those of you that have it, you could purchase this one as well. So yeah, let's see. Did it have anything about late pledge? No. I imagine it's going to be available at least in limited run in retail and secondhand market. So we'll keep an eye on that maybe in the future. But for now, not having played the original, didn't go for it. Next up, Age of Steam, 13 new expansion maps. This is another one where I have not played Age of Steam, but a lot of people that I know really love it. So I thought, well, let me check out this and see what's in here. Lots of expansion volumes, deluxe edition. But in the end, having not played it at all, I decided again, I'm not going to jump in here on this expansion deluxe edition with all these extra volumes, because I tend to be completionist. I just know myself. I would end up going all in on it, even though I don't need to. And so in the end, I decided, you know what, I can probably eventually play this down at the Board Game Cafe in Camarillo, or my board game group that meets on Monday nights. I'm sure somebody's going to have it. So I'll have a chance to play this, I'm quite sure, and just wasn't convinced enough to jump in to buy it. All right, Broken and Beautiful, a game about kintsugi. So this is where they break vases and they meld it back together with gold and create these beautiful designs. The theme was what drew me in on this one. And then Grant here talked highly about it. My friends from All Aboard Gamer talked highly about it. Has a snake draft instance. So I did check it out, but card games tend to have a short shelf life in our family. We play them a couple times and trade them on. In most cases, card games just don't have staying power in our collection. So I looked at it. It looks interesting. The theme really unique, but in the end decided not to go for this one either. I think it would be cool to try, just not sure that I want to own it. All right, Fliptown, a flip and write game. I love Western themes, so this one almost sucked me in as well. Flip and write, roll and write games are hit or miss. Some of them I really enjoy, like Rolling Realms has really grown on me. Cartographers is one of my favorite games of all time, but a lot of the other ones just kind of, not so much. This one is so unique with the poker playing aspects and the Western theme. I was very tempted, almost went for it, but I think I'm going to be able to pick this one up either through retail or on the secondhand market. Yeah, I just decided, with backing those other three games, decided not to add this one. Although now that I'm looking at it again, I'm thinking, boy, I should have just got it. It wasn't very expensive. Maybe they'll have a late pledge later. Let's look at the pledge values down here. So let's see if I can find it. Here's what's in the box. Got the dry erase markers and the cards. Estimated shipping, 11. That's pretty good. We'll look at it over here. So we've got physical copy, $25. Yeah, that's very inexpensive. Probably should have just gone for this one. You can get double copies, French copies. Yeah, kind of wishing maybe I'd back this now that I'm looking at it again. But, you know, I don't need to own every game. Hopefully I'll have a chance to play it in the future. Nothing about late pledges now. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be available in some other form in the future. All right, Cytress, an immersive cyberpunk game. This one does have late pledges open. Pre-order now. You can click here. I'll have the links for all of these down below if you want to check them over in more detail yourself. Cytress looks really interesting. It's got this 3-level Everdell reminding game, a cyberpunk game. You've got these elites living up on the upper levels, and we're the, you know, the low-grade people down on the lower levels trying to build these tubes to reach up to the higher levels. It sounded pretty interesting. I watched the Rado video and quite a few other videos on this one. It looked intriguing. The gameplay sounded interesting, but in the end, said an RPG in a Euro style game. That kind of does sound interesting, but the art didn't really draw me in, while the unique gameplay did, and the idea that it's an engine building game, which I do generally enjoy engine building games. In the end, I decided not to back this one. It looks interesting, but something about the color combinations, I don't know. It didn't make me really dive into it. So I have In Too Deep, another cyberpunk sort of looking game that I haven't even played yet. There's The Breach and Hacktivity coming up that all have this sort of same color scheme, cyberpunk, futuristic feel to them. And maybe I'm just getting a little burned out of seeing that same theme over and over. I'm not sure. So in the end, I did not back this one. But it does look interesting. I do hope to someday give it a shot. Just wasn't sure I wanted to add it to my collection. Another one I looked at was Damask by Radical 8 Games. And this is one that had this unique rotating feature to the game and taking off the different pieces to build the patterns. And it looked really interesting. I watched this video on Rado's channel by Kimberly Tolson, and it sounded interesting. I like the idea of rotating and that lets you pick the pieces you need. But in the end, it looked just a little too abstract for my wife, and I wasn't sure it would be one that we would want to spend a lot of time playing, and so did not back this one, but definitely checked it out. Again, another one that I would love to play sometime. Here's Kimberly's preview. But didn't think it needed to be added to my collection. Through Ice and Snow. Through Ice and Snow is by Two Tomatoes Games, and this one was one that I was really intrigued by. Rado had a really cool playthrough, final thoughts. He's very excited about this game. One of my good friends, Alex from Might I Suggest a Game, was really interested in this game. And it sounds so intriguing. It's competitive. You're trying to work your way through the tundra. You can hire Inuit guides, and you're trying to discover new species, and you're trying to find the Northwest Passage. But there's a semi-cooperative nature to it where you're sharing resources because they're limited, and there's worker placement involved, which I love worker placement. It's got this cool modular board, so the terrain is taking place. You can see here that you're adding board to it as you discover new land. Just looks really cool and interesting. Very thematic. Everyone was talking about how you feel like you're struggling to survive. And as I was watching the videos and following this, it kind of reminded me of that Robinson Crusoe, where it's going to be really hard to survive, but it's going to be a lot of fun trying to. And yeah, just really interesting design here. In the end, just had to pick and choose. I couldn't back everything I was interested in. And while it was hard to say no to this one, I did not end up backing this one. It's very interesting. And again, looking at it now, I always have this remorse when I look back at it and think, oh, maybe I should have backed it. Yeah, and there's a bunch of expansions and things here that come with this, solo scenarios. Yeah, so the pledge levels were also reasonable. If you want the Explorer's pledge, it's the base $54. Captain's pledge was $79, 75 euros. Admiral's pledge, you're looking at 106. And then you can get the twin Captain's pledge if you want 2 of those. And then Philanthropist is if you want signed copies and things like that. Name your ship. So some different things. And there's also some add-ons down here. So I ended up, like I said, not backing this one. We'll see. This one might be one that if it comes to retail, I might look for. Or if they have a late pledge, I might come back and look for it. Very, very intriguing. Very unique theme. And also just unique style of that semi-cooperative racing kind of game. But you have to coordinate in some ways. You can all die and no one win. And so, yeah, really intriguing. Next up, Thunderstone Quest. And as I looked into this game, the main reason I drew it is I know Thunderstone Quest is kind of like a modern classic. A lot of people really love playing this game, grew up playing this game, and I thought, oh, maybe I could just jump in. But as I looked at it, I thought, you know what? I have so many deck building games already. I've got tons of Dominion. I've got Dale of Merchants. I've got Aeon's End. I just got a bunch of games that I think are similar enough to this in style that I just didn't feel like I needed to go after this one. But yeah, I did look into it a little bit just because I thought, you know, a lot of people love this game. Maybe I should try it. This was a chance to really, you know, pick up everything at a pretty reasonable price from what I've heard. As I was watching some of the videos, they were saying, hey, if you really do want to jump in, if this is something you want to back, this is a good time to do it. But in the end, I just have too many other games that are similar to this to make me want to jump into another deck builder. Next up, Anunnaki, Dawn of the Gods. This one by Cranio Creations. It came to Kickstarter, then it canceled, then it relaunched. And this is a 4X Euro style game that had a lot of people talking. And yeah, I was interested in this one. Again, it was one of those, this looks like it's going to be this really kind of grand game that I'm not sure how often I'll get to the table. I have a few other grand games like this that I'm still struggling to get to the table myself. So ended up not backing this. I did follow it in the original before it canceled and then followed it again through this relaunch. It does sound intriguing, that combination of 4X and Euro style game. I do like both styles, so incorporating them together sounded interesting. But in the end, I decided not to go for this one. Hopefully I'll get a chance to play it in the future, but did not back it on this time around. Anunnaki, Dawn of the Gods. All right, and then I think this might be the last one that I followed and didn't back, and that is the Flood. The Flood sounded intriguing. I thought it was interesting looking with this circular board. The art looked attractive, and just the theme sounded interesting. But as I looked over the game and watched the gameplay videos, it just didn't draw me in. I just didn't think it would be one that my family would enjoy too much. It sounded okay. Resource management I like. Building, trading, development I like. The rolling of the dice just sounded like it might be a little too luck-driven in the way it was incorporated into this. Yeah, the roll and move idea. As I watched the videos, I just got a little bit less intrigued by it. I do think it'd be fun to play sometime. You know, hopefully I'll have a chance to in a game cafe, or maybe one of my friends will end up having it. But decided not to back this one at this point. All right, now some that are in live action right now. Hopefully this is still live by the time I get this video uploaded. I'm hoping to get it uploaded later tonight. Only 24 hours to go today, and that is The Breach. Now, The Breach is you are a hacker. This is kind of like I mentioned before, that whole cyberpunk feel, that futuristic feel. And in this one, you are a breacher, you are a hacker, and it's a competitive game for 1 to 4 players, 25 minutes per player. And yeah, again, I think there might just be a little bit of a burnout for me in this whole theme and look to a game. And so I'm not sure if that's why it didn't really draw me in too much. A lot of people have talked about this one being a lot of fun. And a lot of people talked about the art being very stunning, but to me it just looked so much like so many other games I've been seeing recently. So it just didn't suck me in. And there is 24 hours left, but I'm pretty sure I won't be backing this one. It sounded like a little more complex than I want in some ways. Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't quite draw me in. So if you see this video tonight, you might have another 12 hours by the time I get this uploaded if you're interested in checking it. I definitely looked it over, but just didn't quite get drawn in. Next up, 2 days left here, RuneScape Kingdoms, Shadow of Elvarg. This is a NPC cooperative game for 1 to 5 players, and I like cooperative games and I like adventure-based games, and this is, I think, kind of a remake of an old game. And I think if I had played RuneScape and had some nostalgia for it, I might be a little bit more drawn in. But as I've watched the videos for this one, it sounds like for most people, if they don't have that nostalgia, they haven't been that drawn in or attracted to it. So, and since I don't, I just didn't get sucked into this one either. I did check it over, did watch some videos because I wanted to see if this might be a chance for me to sort of pick up a newer version of an older game. But yeah, I think it just wasn't sounding like one that we would play much. And so I did not pass. There's still 48 hours left on this one by Steamforge Games, but not one that I'm leaning towards. A little under a week to go for Bark Avenue by Terradice Games. I love the couple from Terradice Games. They put out a lot of videos, and I'm really happy for them that they're getting this game put together. very excited that they've, succeeded in their goals, and hopefully the game will come to fruition and they'll be very satisfied with the outcome. I'm not decided on this one yet. I want to look over this page with my wife to see if she's interested. It sounds like the theme of this really comes through. I think it's going to be kind of light, and yeah, I think my wife might enjoy it, and light's not always bad. The middle range is kind of where, if it's not too fiddly and not overly complex, and it's not too light, that mid-range is kind of the sweet spot for us. But some of the light games are really enjoying, some of the heavy games are really enjoying. I really love On Mars, for instance. But yeah, so we're looking at this one. I just need to have my wife check it over and see if it's one she thinks she would enjoy. Because this is one I'm kind of on the fence for. I'd love to support Terra Dice games, but I also don't want to buy a game that's just going to sit on the shelf. So if my wife thinks it's one she'll enjoy, we'll probably go for it. We do love our dog, and so the dog theme kind of does fit with us nicely. And we walk our dog a lot. We've never been dog walkers, but we know the need to pick up the poop, and this Kickstarter exclusive squishy poop, little cute tokens. So gateway game, sometimes it's nice to have some gateway games, but we do have quite a few on our shelves now, so we'll see. You can see here the pledge level is $49 for the Kickstarter edition, and then these foster pals are all gone. So you can have your dog starring in it if you want to go to that level for $2.99. And here's another way you can star your small, medium, or large dogs. So Kickstarter exclusive, the squishy poops, the bonus event cards, stretch goals. So yeah, here's how the art comes alive from someone that sent in a picture. Darwin the Beagle. Thought about doing that, but I'm not going to spend the money just to get our dog in the game. I'm a dog lover, but not that much. So here we see from Anthony and Francis, delightful introduction to pickup and delivery. We're impressed with the art style and how well the theme came through. Simply charming. So definitely interested in this one. Have to decide here in the next week or so. Arcs. This is one that I haven't played a lot of leader games. Really, I haven't played Root, haven't played Oath, haven't played Fort. I know those aren't all leader games, but they're all kind of, I think, in that same design genre. I have played Pax Pamir 2nd edition and loved it. And the trick taking, the way it's incorporated into this game sounds so unique. As I've watched the videos from Thinker Themer and several others, I'm very interested in this game. Not quite sure I want to go for it yet. On the fence still. Yeah, the way that the trick taking has been described in the videos that I've watched just sounds really interesting and innovative. The art, honestly, isn't really drawing me in so much, though. So I don't know. Here we can see, while it shares mechanics from its predecessors, Root and Oath, this is a different theater entirely. Brutal trick-taking game where every hand of cards you get is a bad one and you're just scraping and squeezing by. It's a blast and I need more of it. And quite a few people really loving this game. Yeah, curious about it. Like I said, for some reason, the art just, same with Root and Oath, the art just doesn't necessarily draw me in. Oath more than the others. But the gameplay on this one might be enough to push me over the edge. So here we got $60 pledge, get everything you need for a single session, and then $100 pledge, that's if you want the campaign expansion. And that's what watching the Thinker Themer video recently about their backtrack video, they were talking about that campaign expansion gives you that chance to play it out more. So that's probably where I would go. I don't think I would go for this all in with the miniatures. It sounds like also from what they said that the miniatures aren't necessarily needed for the game, and they didn't really even think it would add too much to the game. I'm not huge on miniatures, so I do want to read a little bit more about it, watch a few more videos about it, but definitely interested in this one. I was hoping to play Oath. Our game group's been talking about playing Oath, and we just haven't been able to get together and do it recently, so I wish I could try that before. Well, we got about a week. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to squeeze that in, and that might give me some decision-making power into whether I want to go for this or not. But this one's definitely also in the strong maybes. Then we got Hacktivity. This one, it sounds so much like The Breach, but cooperative. So if we look back here, let's see if I can find it. There we go. There's The Breach. Yeah, this one's by Ludus Maximus. So in this game, you're competitive, trying to hack, and then here in Hacktivity, it's cooperative. And so if I were going to go for one, I'd probably go for the cooperative because my wife is much more into cooperative games. but it's that same thing I mentioned a couple times now where, I don't know, the hacking theme just doesn't really attract me either for this one or the Breach. And so that may be some of it. The cyberpunk theme also really just isn't my vibe. So I don't know. I'm keeping my eye on this one because it's cooperative. And again, a lot of people have talked about this, and Rado really loved this game. And I know he and his wife really love cooperative games, as do my wife and I. So looking at the options here, $59 for the Advanced Edition Kickstarter version. And then the Complete Edition, $74 with the small expansion included. Or you can get the small expansion separate. And then your Custom Edition, if you want to get your art put in here somehow, you can do that for, was it $4.99? $4.22. Yeah. And then you can get dual editions as well. So custom crew, if you really want to go for it, $12.42. You want your whole crew incorporated into the game. So yeah, I want to check this one out just a little bit more. I've watched a few videos. I watched this Tantrum House video, and I watched the Rado videos. But yeah, I'll have to be keeping my eye on this one. What is it? 8 days left, I think, and we'll see. Dockfighters. This is one I actually have a prototype that I've been playing with, and 8 days to go on this one. They are fully funded, and they put out a bunch of videos. So if you check out their videos, they're talking about how they designed it, why they designed it the way they did. Marcus, I forget his buddy's name here, but they're talking through lots and lots of things. So check them out on YouTube. I'll put a link down to their channel. But the thing that's intriguing about this one is this whole design of the magnets, putting in your altitude of your flight and all these different flight planes and your direction and movement and speed. And as you accelerate upward, you lose speed. And as you accelerate downward, you gain speed, or not accelerate, but change altitude. You can use the power of the planes that you choose to accelerate more or less. Different planes hold different kinds of weaponry. Different pilots have different abilities, and you're trying to advance your pilot. I did a preview video for this, so I'll put a link to that above. And this is one that, this is a big investment if you're interested in this game. It comes in a cool wooden box, and this is a prototype version like I have here that you're seeing. So the final version will be even kicked up a little bit more. Potentially a leather-bound rule book and campaign details books. And so, yeah, really interesting. These are the clouds that affect your flight and affect your combat, and all these different wooden pieces that show the different things you might be trying to target, or that might be targeting you from the ground. And then these are the different, you can see the kind of size of the different airships and planes and such. So very cool. Lots of expansions you can get. If we look at the pledge levels here, if you get the standard edition, it's about €106.99. And then if you go for the large edition with the 3 expansions, it's €213, €199. If you want it hand painted, it's €320 or €299. If you want the Epic Edition with all 6 expansions, it's €356 or €333. And then if you want hand painted Epic, it's $1,000 basically, almost €1,000. And so you can see also they have this 3D gaming table. Let me scroll down and show that. It's super expensive, as you can see here, $4,273 if you want the gaming table in Epic Edition. But it's a really interesting design. Here's how you can see here we go. This is that 3D adjusting table. And so here's the table, and you can adjust the terrain to show the different levels if you want. And so this is a very expensive add-on. Let's see, has anybody picked this one up? One backer has picked this one up. So really intriguing. Check out these videos if you want to see it more in action. But here you can kind of see how those layer on to give you different kinds of terrain and different levels of terrain. So you could have mountains and seas and prairies and grasslands and such. So you could use it for a lot of games, not just Dockfighters. But that was an intriguing thing there too. So that one, I think 8 days was it again? Let me see. Yes, 8 days to go. Next up, 44 BCE, A Game of Strategy and Betrayal. This one is it's 2 to 5 players and by Christian Forrest. When I first heard about this one, I like historical games. This one's about the Julius Caesar assassination, and there's a power vacuum. Are you going to jump in and fill that vacuum? But as I looked it over, it didn't really draw me in with the art. The theme is one that caught my attention. And as I looked at the art, didn't really draw me in too much. As I've read through the gameplay, it sounds interesting, but the backstabbery isn't something my wife would go for. And you can see here the pledge levels. I went through that a little bit quickly. but retail only there. But if you're wanting the Equester version, the standard edition is $59. If you want the Emperor edition with all the gold coins and everything, it's up over $100. And then if you want a signed copy, or if you want multiple copies and such, you can, and you're adding your likeness in. So yeah, I looked at this briefly. I haven't spent too much time on it. I watched this video here, and I'll probably watch a few more videos before I make my final decision. But the more I looked into it, it just didn't, the theme drew me in, and then when I started looking at the art and the gameplay, I thought, I'm not sure this will really fit. So we'll see. I'll check it out. Another week to go still on that one. All right, Saray by Nostromo Editions, a strategy game for 2 to 4 players, resource management, push your luck. This one's where you're building out terrain, and if you can build the best city, basically a city building game, then you win. And it looks pretty cool the way you build it out. You're going to be planning your building site, so choosing what you're going to build, and there's a push your luck mechanism to choosing your resources, and then based on which you have resources you're able to get in that push your luck kind of simultaneous phase, then you're going to construct the different buildings. And it looks really cool the way you're constructing these buildings out here. This one is one that I think sounds really intriguing by the gameplay, looks really beautiful. But as I'm looking down through this section here, let's look at the different editions here. So we've got the main buildings. Yeah, it's kind of giving me that Foundations of Rome vibe with the structures that would go on the board, which looks pretty cool. Here's the different obelisks and structures that you would get in the deluxe version. So you can see if you've seen Foundations of Rome, that's kind of giving that same sort of look to it. And here's the editions. If you get the deluxe edition for 71 euros, you can get the standard edition if you don't want those miniatures for 45 euros. So pretty reasonable both ways, really. And then retails, you can go there. And there's some add-ons here you can get to. Shipping, another 18 to 20 euros for shipping to the US, and you can see other places around the world if you live elsewhere. Here we go. Why should you pledge? It's not a one-shot. It's their first crowdfunding. We're launching their first crowdfunding project. The stakes are high. They need your help. Even if the game is in retail, it'll be released later in shops. We commit to delivering this sooner. The deluxe version comes with 3D buildings that will not be available in retail, so that's a reason to give it. But then down here, the reviews are just in French so far. And so, and I don't speak French. I could watch and try to make as much of it, put on subtitles maybe, I don't know. But just not being able to watch the gameplay or hear someone that I know talk about it is holding me back a bit. So we'll see. Sounds intriguing, looks beautiful, but have to hold off and see what comes out of that. Aeon's End, Past and Future. I'm probably not very interested in this one, but I wanted to mention it because a lot of people love Aeon's End, and I do enjoy Aeon's End, but I have the base game, and then I also have, what is it, A New War, what's that one called? The big expansion to it, and I also have Aeon's End Legacy, and I barely played any of them, and so I don't need to dive in and get more, but this Past and Future is more. It's an expansion, it's not a standalone, and you actually have to have either Outcast or the New Age, which I don't have either of those, and so I would have to be investing in quite a bit to get more of a game that I haven't even played very much to begin with. So if you're interested in Aeon's End, check this one out. It's kind of a confusing pledge level here to me. Maybe you'll make better sense of it, but as I was looking through this, it gives you this information here, but then down below it's got all these waves, because like here it says, you'll receive 1 copy of Aeon's End, Past and Future including all the milestones, plus 1 wave of content. And then you can look at these waves down here and choose which ones you want. So I have this one, the Aeon's End Legacy, and I also have this, where is it? War Eternal. I have War Eternal, and I have the original base game. And I have a lot of these expansions kind of mixed in. I bought it used, and it's got the nice wooden insert with, I think, I basically have all of Wave 1 and Wave 2 and Wave 3. And so I don't need to add all this other stuff on for me personally. But you can check that out and see if that's something that you're interested in. Still a little over 2 weeks by Indie Boards and Cards. If you love Aeon's End and need more of it, there you go. Next up, Tsuro Luxury Limited Edition. I know I won't be backing this one. I'm not going to put that much money into a game, but I wanted to check it out just out of curiosity. This is the over-the-top limited edition, this fancy wooden box with, felt inserts and metal features. Looks intricate and beautiful, and it's got this incredible bamboo scroll with the rules. I mean, they have gone over the top. These, I forget if these are acrylic or if they're actually, I think they might be clay tiles, like a baked clay. Yeah, and then you've got this beautiful board, this cloth board. Everything looks gorgeous. And I haven't even played Tsuro, so I don't even know if I really enjoy the game or not. But there's no way I'm putting this much money into a single game, especially one that I've never even played. But for some, this is, you know, if you're the kind of person who just loves a collector's edition, and maybe if you love Tsuro, this would be right up your alley. You know, I know some people buy, you know, incredibly expensive games of chess, and they're display items, they're collector's items, and that's, you know, certain people really will enjoy that. But that's not the kind of, I'm a collector to some degree, but not this kind of a collector. So yeah, $350 looks gorgeous, and I can see why some people would want it, but it's not something for me. All right, now upcoming games. This is launching in 4 days, Amygdala by Game Brewer. This one is an abstract strategy game where you're trying to place these tiles into the brain to control the brain, and you have to store these emotions and memories. It's by Game Brewer, and it's a Kramer Kiesling game. And I've generally enjoyed Game Brewer games, and I've generally enjoyed Kramer and Kiesling games. So I'm excited to see this one. Azul was just okay for me, but this whole biological, neurological connection with my science background sounds interesting. Life is full of emotions, and the region of the brain primarily associated with processing these is the amygdala. So it's an abstract strategy game. So my wife and I don't tend to love abstract games, although she did really like Azul. And to me, Azul was just okay, but this one, I think, with both the unique theme and the cool tiles, I definitely want to learn more about this, watch a few videos when this launches in just a few days. So definitely going to be checking that one out. Some others that are on the horizon, Globetrotting. I heard about this one from Jenna Rose and her YouTube channel. She has the new Board Game Gardening channel, or the Board Game Garden, I think it's called, channel. And she was talking about this one. It kind of gives me the Trekking the World vibes, and sounded really fun. Planning epic vacations, trotting around the globe. So definitely want to check that one out, coming soon. I think it's coming in July. Bretwalda, I just heard about this one, and this launches in 6 days on GameFound. This is by Phalanx Games, and I backed a bunch of Phalanx games when I was new into the hobby, and they just looked really cool. And then when I got them and started trying to figure out how to play them, they just weren't anything that my wife and I were very interested in. But this one caught my attention because it says it is a streamlined kind of short version of the game. 1 to 4 players. Yeah, territories and other Anglo-Saxon kingdoms on a spectacular game board through coercion, negotiation, straightforward combat using custom dice and scores of beautiful miniatures. So the fact that it's a little bit more streamlined, shorter game, I'll look into it. Game Street, I don't know how much the diplomacy aspect will fit with my wife, although my game group might enjoy it more. 1 to 4 players, usually around 2 hours. That doesn't sound as streamlined as I initially thought, but I'll definitely check it out. I love the cover art, and it looks intriguing. So, you know, like I said, the Phalanx games in the past just haven't hit me well, but the Dark Ages theme caught my attention, and fast-paced, asymmetric, that kind of, although 2 hours, I don't know how fast-paced it is if it's going to take 2 hours, so we'll see. All right, Queen's Dilemma. I have not played King's Dilemma by Horrible Guild, but we have the sequel coming out, and I definitely want to check it out. I'd love to play King's Dilemma. I've heard so many people that really love it, and I want to find out more about this Queen's Dilemma. I believe it's going to be a standalone sequel, and so I don't know if we'll have a chance to play King's Dilemma before this one comes out. Probably not. I think this is coming in August, if I remember correctly. Dunhuang, Pearl of the Silk Road by Jing Studios. This is a thematic immersive worker placement game. The art that I've seen online on their website looks beautiful, but I've been expecting this one to launch since, I think, January, and it still hasn't, and there's no still firm date. So hoping July, maybe August, but not knowing sure when it will launch. So keeping my eye on it for sure. I have, in my own account, I have clicked on notified. I'm just not logged in here. All right, and then Amun-Re 20th Anniversary Edition by Alley Cat Games, another classic Ryder Knizia auction game coming to GameFound. Don't know exactly when. I think it's scheduled for sometime in July. And they do have quite a bit of information on here, at least imagery on here. They're increasing the player count, art by Vincent Dutray, statue expansion with 8 miniatures, build a personal tomb with the Afterlife expansion, and then deluxe 20th anniversary components. So I haven't played the original Amun-Re, but I have been picking up a lot of these Palaces of Carrara, Ra, Castles of Burgundy, sort of these modern classic games in their new upgraded versions because I don't have the originals. So I've kind of been on that streak here lately and might get sucked into this one as well. I would love to try it. I've had it on my wish list for a while. It's a little bit harder to find. And so, yeah, with the different expansions and the upgraded components, like I said, I tend to enjoy Reiner Knizia games. So definitely going to be keeping my eye on this one. All right, and just a couple more. Tainted Grail, King of Ruins. This is a standalone sequel to Tainted Grail. Now, I haven't played Tainted Grail, but one of my gaming buddies owns it, and he's playing through with some of his other friends. Said that when they're finished, I can borrow it and try a little bit, see if I enjoy it. And then if I do, I might end up getting this standalone campaign. Not a ton of information yet. Don't know when it's going to be coming out. This second edition, I think they've cleaned up some of the rules. They've cleaned up some of the confusion that came in that first game. I think they've cleaned up some of the feel of grind from that first game to try to make it a little more streamlined. So I'd like to try the original when my friend is done with his copy, and then that'll help me decide whether I want to back this one or not. But that one's on the horizon as well. And then Rise and Fall. This one I've actually been talking about since last year by Christoph Bollinger, Ludicali Games. I love this look of this 3D building the game out, and these little structures that they're designing look cool. They thought, I think it was supposed to be on Kickstarter in 2020, then 2021, now 2022. I think it is slated for August. I really am excited to see what this turns out to be. I've been following it for a couple of years and hoping that it really is going to make it to Kickstarter soon. And then my last one that I'm looking forward to, this one doesn't come for August for sure, but this one caught my attention because it's by Game Trays. And Game Trays is known for the trays they put into games, but now they're developing their own. Become a Legend on a Savage World, a sandbox adventure game with limitless possibilities. The art really looks pretty cool. Looks very sort of Mad Max kind of look to it. So definitely want to try that one out. So there you have it. Those are the games that I backed, that I followed and didn't back, that I'm still following, some that I'm anticipating, and just a few more that I'm anticipating. I don't have pages to show you, but I wanted to mention them. Star Realms Legacy Rise of the Empire is scheduled to come out in July. The anticipated date is July 5th. If you love Star Realms, keep your eye out for that one. Hippocrates is coming up with the Agora expansion. If you played that game, brewer game Hippocrates, and enjoyed that, that one's scheduled to come out in August. Return to Dark Tower expansion. I love Return to Dark Tower. An expansion by this Restoration Games company is scheduled for Q3 this year. Biome Borneo came to Kickstarter months ago, and I had backed it, but then it didn't fund, and so they're trying to bring it back in Q3. I'm excited for that one. And then Wild Serengeti, which seems to be just delivering now to a lot of people. A sequel is scheduled for that already, Q3 this year on Kickstarter. So those are some other ones that are coming out. So in the comments down below, let me know which of these games did you back or are you interested in? What other games that I didn't mention did you back or are you interested in? I'd love to read about that in the comments. So hopefully that's helpful for you. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up, and it'd be terrific if you would also choose to subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy Indiana signing off.